Well, good evening. Of a death sentence and a ticking clock. Details will soon follow on Prime Edition tonight. First things first, the highlights.
Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey shall suffer death.
An eye for an eye. Joseph Irungu alias Joey handed the death sentence over the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani. It's all hot air. Kisii Deputy Governor faces the Senate, dismisses allegations of gross misconduct leveled against him and terms it political war engineered by his boss. And Medics Union KMPDU says its planned countrywide strike begins in the next 3 hours from now.
Good evening once again. Prime Edition, I'm Regina Manyara, and my colleague on sign language is none other than Lensa Odingo. Now, Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey has been sentenced to death over the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani. High Court trial judge Grace Nzioka in the after-in-depth analysis of the report by the probation officer, homicide experts, victim's family and the prosecution, Irungu was found culpable for the murder and deserves a maximum sentence for the offense.
Of this matter, but set the record clear.
It is an eye for murder convict Joseph Irungu. Joey was last month found guilty of killing businesswoman Monica Kimani. Is now officially a guest of the state.
Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey shall suffer death as provided for the offense of murder under section 204 of the Penal Code of Kenya.
In a sentencing judgment, trial judge Grace Nzioka said investigations linked Joey to Monica Kimani's murder.
The victim's family, in their submissions dated 7th of March, drew the court's attention to the sentence provided for the offense of murder, which sentence is stipulated under section 204, which says that a person convicted of the offense of murder shall suffer death. They led the court through the objectives of sentence, which I've spoken to, and therefore I will not repeat. And they invited the court to take cognizance of the fact that the accused person before the court did not play a peripheral role in the commission of the offense, but he was the main perpetrator.
She said the death was well planned and executed by a very well-trained person.
An understanding that the person was not an amateur, the person must have had some training. And remember, the evidence even revealed that after the offense was committed, the deceased was put in the bathtub and the shower tap was put over to run the blood off.
The court further decried the rise in femicide cases in the country. The trial judge noted Kimani's murder shattered dreams and left her family in agony.
She is said to have indicated that she does not understand what would cause anyone to brutally murder her only daughter, who was her confidant and a very close friend. It is reported that following the death of the victim and the deceased, she suffered prolonged depression and consequently suffered stroke.
Irungu was charged alongside former TV broadcaster Jackie Maribe, who was acquitted during a judgment delivered on 9 February 2024. He has a right to appeal the sentence within 14 days. After 6 years of a legal murder battle in the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani, Justice Grace Nzioka has handed the 33-year-old Joseph Irungu a death penalty in the offense. All eyes are now set on the president to see if he will pen his signature to okay his hanging. Ruth Wamboy reporting for Prime Edition from Milimani Law Courts.
Kenyans may have to seek medical services from private hospitals after the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union announced the commencement of a nationwide strike starting midnight today, March 13th of 2024. Addressing the media at the KMPDU offices, the Union Secretary General Daviji Atela said the move is a result of failed dialogues with the Ministry of Health. Members of Parliament allied to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, led by Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi, have called for the resignation of Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumisha. Kasichana Masha with the details.
We had promised that we are going to give a 7-day strike notice.
On March 6, 2024, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union issued a strike notice demanding the deployment of at least 1,200 medical interns, among other grievances. After a series of unfruitful dialogue with the government, the union now maintains that its members will down their tools as of midnight, March 13, 2024.
When the clock ticks midnight, past 1 minute, I encourage all of you to join the liberation movement in a way that only you have shown us in the past the best way you can do it.
Addressing the media on Wednesday, the Union Secretary General Daviji Atela urged medical doctors to discharge all admitted patients and do referrals for those in critical condition.
And we advise our doctors across the country to begin discharging patients and referring them, because the government has been on strike for the last 7 years, and tonight we will join them fully.
Members of Parliament allied to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, led by Opiyo Wandayi, threw their weight behind the doctors' strike, saying their demands must be met.
We demand that the ministry shares with Kenyans its plans for the people to access emergency treatment, critical care, maternity care, neonatal care and trauma in the event that this strike takes off, as is very highly likely.
Speaking at Parliament buildings, the MPs demanded Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumisha's resignation for allegedly failing to resolve the stalemate between doctors and the government.
If the Health Cabinet Secretary is not able to make the National Treasury release funds for a critical ministry like hers, then she has no option but to quit, really.
And National Treasury should also tell us, is it that you don't have money? Is it that you have not collected enough with all the taxes that you're charging Kenyans currently?
After the decision made by the union, this is what Kenyans had to say.
Pale barabarani kuna matatizo mengi sana, ajali za mara kwa mara. Wakiwa wataendelea kukoma na kusazana na serikali, sisi wananchi ndio tutaumia. So ni better wakiweza kuelewana, wakae pamoja waelewane.
Ningesihi serikali itimize mambo yenye imeahidi hawa madaktari.
Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Indeed, the clock is ticking and we have roughly under 3 hours to go if indeed they will see through with their threats there to down their tools across all public medical service, or rather medical facilities across the country. Now the government plans to complete setting up the National Address System, installation of free public Wi-Fi, digitization of government services, and the strengthening of the data protection laws. And the newly launched a strategic plan 2023-2027 by the Ministry of Information, Communications and the Digital Economy. The state also targets to create 3.5 million jobs for young people by 2027 through e-commerce and startups.
During the implementation of the previous strategic plan 2018-2022, the ministry faced several challenges that hindered the plan's implementation, including inadequate funding, low literacy levels, and slow adoption of technologies, cyber threats and attacks, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the Ministry of ICT says the challenges and lessons learned have informed the fifth strategic plan 2023-2027.
Because we operate in an environment which is dynamic, where there are so many factors in play, it is important that we come up with a strategic plan to enable us get a strategic fit or proper positioning in that operational environment with a view to realizing our goals.
We are committed to ensure these are actually realized, and taking advantage of other instruments we already have in place, the Kenya Digital Master Plan 2022 to 2032, Digital Blueprint Economy, the Digital Economy Blueprint, the National ICT Policy of 2019, among many others.
Speaking during the launch of the strategic plan, ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo said the ministry will collaborate with all relevant stakeholders to finance and ensure successful implementation of identified programs, projects, policies, and legal and institutional reforms.
We must revitalize KBC, POSTA, and KNA. And these are irreducible minimums. They are not negotiable. Yeah? We have signed performance contracts to deliver this. And that performance contracting framework must be cascaded downwards up to the individual scorecard.
We cannot keep here talking about revamping POSTA, but we have no strategy. Do you know how much money goes into advertisement? And the KBC gets zero. Even the regulations are set. They are set to make sure KBC gets nothing.
Broadcasting Principal Secretary Professor Edward Kisiangani pointed to the need to realign national institutions with the plan while safeguarding national assets and institutions such as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Postal Corporation of Kenya, and the Kenya News Agency.
We cannot achieve these objectives when some people with business interests in private sector capture the state and want to destroy our national institutions.
Under the 2023-2027 medium-term period, the government will provide an enabling business environment to enhance access to information and digitally enable startups and investments. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Now you'll soon be able to access cheaper, locally manufactured antivenom after the Ministry of Health inked a deal with the Africa Snake Alliance for local manufacture of antivenom amid rising cases of snake bites. Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni says the ministry has pledged 2 billion shillings towards research under the initiative in a move aimed at supplying the antivenom across the African continent, easing over-reliance on costlier imports from Europe and India.
Statistics indicate that on average, more than 20,000 people are bitten by snakes annually.
She's requesting for assistance so that she can be able to take care of her needs. And she's requesting for access of medication at Kitui County.
4,000 succumb to the venomous snake bites, while 7,000 end up paralyzed or get other health complications.
You might find somebody who's been bitten by a snake, and if your leg is cut, you'll be told it's witchcraft. And this can happen in Africa. Therefore, equally collaborative efforts simply to ensure that there's knowledge passing to the common person, the common mwananchi, at the bottom of the pyramid, for people to really know how to stay safe. And equally, what do you do should this happen?
Kenya has been importing antivenom in bulk from Europe and India. However, it has emerged that 50% of the imports are not effective.
Whether it is to prove concepts, whether it is to advance science, whether it is to come up with the new innovations, we are available, because we know that the kind of interventions that are available to us today, we really need to improve them.
Currently, anti-venom drugs retail for between 10,000 to 15,000 shillings per vial.
In Kenya, we also spent over $1 billion Kenya shillings importing that antivenom, whose efficacy rates are not very high. In addition to that, the Ministry of Wildlife and Kenya Wildlife Services, they spend over $2 billion every year compensating victims of snake bite. And we can actually avoid this by coming up with these local solutions.
A patient bitten by a venomous snake can require up to 5 vials, making treatment inaccessible. The launch of the Africa Snake Alliance is expected to foster local manufacturing under the Kenya Institute of Primate Research.
We're trying to look for a way using science, because being a research institution, our mandate is to use science to address human health problems. So we want to use science and come up with an antidote that can work for the snakes.
The first batch will be commercially available in the next 9 months. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Well, just in case you're wondering why you're hearing my voice and seeing me, is that when we are not bringing forth, or rather broadcasting the bulletin, we are out there sourcing for those stories. Now, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndongo is on the spot for delaying disbursement of road maintenance monies. Members of the National Assembly expressed their disappointment with Treasury for attempting to usurp parliamentary powers to appropriate funds.
What is it that is stopping the National Treasury from releasing funds towards public participation budgeted works in the State Department of Roads? And this is an issue that concerns every member here. This House remains an independent institution. We are not beholden to anybody, any other authority. We only defer to the Speaker when in this House. And once we make a decision such as passing an appropriation bill, which then becomes an appropriation act, and money continues to be collected by KRA, the money must be disbursed.
We have so many roads that have remained undone. We have money that was appropriated even in previous parliaments. We have pending bills that have remained unpaid, so that those contractors can complete some of those projects, Honorable Speaker.
The big issue here is Parliament taking its place, its rightful place in budgeting. No other house, no other institution, no other entity has the role of appropriating monies in the budget.
There is no money which has been sent to that. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, it's important let the CS in charge of finance be called to order by this House and let him live up to the role that he was given, so that he can get us the money in our various constituencies.
I will pick up the issue on the actual public participation money, other than the others that members are aware of, part of which is an issue that was addressed here by the Cabinet Secretary for Roads when he appeared here.
The Cabinet has endorsed measures that are in the process to take the fight against illegal brew and narcotic drugs. The measures announced by the Ministry of Interior include a 21-day suspension of all 52 licenses and permits issued to manufacturers and distillers of second-generation alcohol, and revocation of all bar licenses issued by counties against the law. The Ministry of Health has also been directed to prepare a framework for rehabilitation towards of alcohol and drug addicts in all level 5 hospitals.
Other measures put in place to deal with illicit liquor are nationwide crackdowns on the sale, transportation, distribution and consumption of the product and narcotic drugs, as well as an audit of conflict of interest within the ranks of enforcement agencies. At a meeting chaired by President William Ruto, the Cabinet concluded that the violation or resistance against the measures would amount to the violation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution and the laws on conflict of interest. The cabinet was informed that since the Interior Ministry started implementing these measures, 5,835 raids on illicit and narcotic premises have been conducted, 289,390 litres of illicit brew, and 13,198 litres of counterfeit alcohol have been netted. Additionally, 7 vessels for trafficking drugs, 3,603 rolls of bang, and 44 stones have been seized. The crackdown has also seen 2,393 non-compliant premises, 359 pharmacies and chemists, and 452 agrovets closed. Noting the increased cases of addiction to alcohol and drugs, the cabinet directed the Ministry of Health to work closely with county governments and ensure each county has a rehabilitation center. The cabinet directed that an interministerial committee be established to address the invasion of the Prosopis duliflora tree, commonly known as madenge. The tree has led to loss of grazing lands, farming lands and wetlands in 22 counties. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
That effectively takes us to a fast break tonight on Prime Edition. Do keep it right here.
Colgate Herbal is formulated from a unique blend of natural herbs and is scientifically proven to strengthen teeth and keep gums healthy. Try Colgate Herbal, scientifically proven for strong teeth and healthy gums. Colgate Charcoal, the charcoal toothpaste you can trust.
Haya, sisi ya kungoja kwenye star 570 hash kuna ploti na ni up to 1.1 million Kenyan shillings with a genuine title deed na inakungoja star 570 hash ukana shake.
Welcome to Sensei Institute. Mahali skills zangu ni pesa mkononi. At Sensei College, practical skills is the definition. Accredited by the government and founded on a Christian background, Sensei College offers all-rounded programs that are tailor-made to enhance your skills and give you the future you desire. We offer courses such as interior design, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty, hospitality courses, trailer driving and defensive driving, building construction technology, CCTV, solar and electrical installation, photography and video production, electronic courses, vehicle electronics and mechanic courses, agricultural mechanics, ICT, and many more. To enroll in any of our campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru, all you need is your national ID card. Mapema do best. Take advantage of our monthly intake. Come to kusort na skills. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy, his hand didn't go up. And I said, well, why didn't you brush this morning? He said, my brother was using the toothbrush. If I'd waited for him, I would have been late for school. I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional when it comes to that. To be able to change a child's life, to be able to bring back that confidence about their smile, for me, is phenomenal.
Now, glad you're still watching Prime Edition. Mombasa County residents will soon part with 500 shillings as a monthly garbage collection fee once the county government implements the Mombasa Solid Waste Management Act of 2023. According to Deputy Governor Francis Thoye, Mowasco has been tasked with the collection responsibility, and the revenue will go a long way in streamlining garbage collection as well as maintaining high standards of hygiene in the port city.
Garbage collection in the port city of Mombasa continues to remain a challenge, with the county government working round the clock to ensure cleanliness is restored. During a collaborative sensitization workshop that brought together private sector representatives, National Environment Management Authority, and the regulatory authority overseeing extended producer responsibility, Mombasa County Deputy Governor Francis Thoya alluded that waste management was a devolved function and it was the county's responsibility to ensure that garbage is well managed.
Lengo letu kubwa na governor ameinsist ni kwamba tunataka kutumia fund hii ku create opportunity kwa vijana, to employ vijana wao wanaweza kutengeza CBO zao mashinani kule, tuwaajiri na pesa hizi wao wanaweza kuchukua taka, tuwaajiri na organized way, si ile kienyeji hata mikokoteni, hapana. An organized group wanajiorganize mtaani, government na walipa kandarasi wanakuwa wanachukua taka huko mali. So that is the overall plan.
With the county government collecting more than 1,000 tons of garbage every day, which is then deposited to Mwakirunge dump site, the county government is working towards introducing segregation of waste in households.
The responsibility of collecting waste in this city is costly. Jukumu la kubeba taka si shilingi 2. Ni gharama kubwa, maana unahitaji malori, unahitaji wafanyaji kazi na hizo vitu zote. So our long-term objective is to work around the larger issue of segregation of waste at source. Tukitatua hii, tukiweza kuwahamasisha watu wetu waone umuhimu wa kusegregate waste at source, tutapunguza kiwango kikubwa cha taka ambacho kinakuwa generated na kubebwa kila asubuhi kupelekwa Mwakirunge. Maana kikubwa kitakuwa recycled.
We know that we have a long way to go, but if we all play our role, then I think we're going to make the steps that are needed to achieve a cleaner environment.
Thoya said the county government will continue arresting those people found littering the streets of Mombasa.
Nimesema watu watashikwa Mombasa, ukipatikana unakojoa ovyo ovyo utashikwa. Na hakuna njia nyingine. So wale wanataka kufanya siasa wafanye siasa. Tuna jukumu la kuhakikisha mji ni msafi. Choo ziko, na watu wasilete story ati hakuna vyoo viko.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
About 8,000 people die annually from tobacco-related illnesses in the country, according to the statistics released by Harm Reduction Society of Kenya. Meanwhile, the Nubian Rights Forum is threatening to sue the government over what it terms as unrealistic increase in charges for national identity cards. The stories and more in our county news roundup.
While launching a campaign on safer alternatives, Harm Reduction Society of Kenya Secretary General Michael Kariuki urged policymakers to consider policies that allow smokers access to alternatives that will help them quit the habit.
We must reduce the burden. We must reduce the deaths. Those 8,000 people who are dying in Kenya, those 2-3 million people who are smoking, that number must come down.
In Kitui County, patients seeking services at Mwingi Level 4 Hospital have decried what they term as the poor state of the hospital, with most essential services and medicine lacking.
Kutoka hii mwaka, kutoka January, na hii hospitali iko na matatizo mengi. Haina oxygen, haina madawa, na naambia serikali kama gavana wetu kama nzuri makao Malombe.
Meanwhile, as the fight against counterfeit alcohol across the Mount Kenya region intensifies, more than 300 youth are undergoing rehabilitation at a center in Matunduri, Embu West Sub-County.
It is normally very unpopular politically to talk about alcohol. But this time, history will judge you right, Your Excellency, the Deputy President. History will judge you right. I am a witness kwa sababu nimesimama hapa mbele ya vijana karibu 300. I am a witness that there is a problem and we have to solve it.
Elsewhere, the Nubian Rights Forum has raised concern following claims that the Nubians in the country are required to pay 850 shillings to process the national ID.
If each and every Kenyan attaining the age of 18 will go for ID with 300 Kenya shillings, why is Nubian going with 850 Kenya shillings? Then what is the meaning of Article 27 of the Constitution of Kenya? Every person is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and equal benefit of the law.
Separately, a family in Kisii County is in distress following the disappearance of their kin for 3 weeks. Pius Momanyi Onkenge, who is mentally challenged, is said to have gone missing after attending a church service in Kiogoro.
Sasa alipotelea mimi kutoka hapo Kiogoro tangu siku hiyo tarehe 25 mpaka wa leo sijawahi kumuona. Nilifika station police nikaweka maripoti hapo. Sasa tangu siku hiyo bado jaona yeye.
And finally, the Nairobi County Government will host the second edition of the Battle of Choirs during the Easter holiday at the end of this month. A total of 54 choirs will compete in the festivals, an initiative of the Nairobi City County.
We have a whole lineup of choirs. We have been going through a process of vetting them. We started off by asking them to register, so we had a whole list of 91 choirs register.
For Prime Edition, I'm Joseph Ohungu.
Now, on cinemas and theatre, when a seemingly harmless miscommunication takes an unexpected turn, one impoverished family finds itself tangled in a whirlwind of chaos and drama. Pagu is a rib-tickling Kenyan comedy feature film exploring themes of greed, deception, and family.
Yes, habari. Habari boss.
In a world where miscommunication reigns supreme, Pagu, a film by KBC Media, delivers a punchy Kenyan comedy that tickles the ribs while delving deep into the intricacies of family dynamics and the alluring grasp of greed.
Mimi ni Dr. Kapaluku, Dr. wa mifupa.
Directed with finesse and flair, the film grips audiences from the get-go, plunging them into the whirlwind of emotions.
Yule mkontradi kwako hii kitanda kwa wapi? Huyo. Huyo alienda.
As the unfortunate passing of Mama Patience sets the stage for a roller coaster ride of events.
Ulijuaje ameenda? Nilimuona akitolewa na macho yangu.
The plot takes an unexpected turn when Mama Patience's daughter's house help mistakenly announces her demise, sending shockwaves through the impoverished family.
Kama hospitali, patient akikufa huwa tunapigia next of kin.
As they reel from the news, financial turmoil looms large, casting a dark shadow over their already precarious situation. But just when they think they've hit the rock bottom, fate throws them a curveball.
Ako sawa. Lakini ako wapi? Ako Ward 7.
Mama Patience miraculously returns from the dead.
This story is from a long time ago. My partner is called Sake. He came up, he told me this idea like around 5 years ago. So I just thought about it because at that time we had done some other stories. So I thought about it and we thought that it was going to be a very interesting film when we execute it. And we've been planning for it since then. So this last year, that's when we decided we need to shoot something. So that idea, that's the one that stood out from all the ideas that we had, and that's why we decided to do it.
The film Pagu was produced in Machakos County with half the cast drawn from the town.
Whenever we go to different locations, now for Pagu's case in Machakos, we had to get actors from Machakos. Yes, so we only got a few major actors. The main actors are from Nairobi. Then when we get to the Ushago part, we needed to get the people that are from that area. The way they speak, the food that they eat, the houses that they live in, we needed to get actors from there.
It wasn't challenging because most of them were excited about actually having a film come to them instead of just seeing things on TV all the time. So they were very quick to learn, they were very quick to get their lines, and they were very quick to get directions. We didn't have a lot of challenges with them. As much as they were new, the good thing is that we already know they don't know, or we already know they're not experienced, so we are very patient with them.
Kevin Mafumbo, the film director, notes that Pagu is locally produced in Kamba dialect with little Swahili and Sheng, bringing the originality and the authenticity of the film.
So we wanted something that will be very Kenyan, authentically Kenyan. So why we decided to go with Kamba first is because I'm Kamba. Yes, it's because I'm Kamba. And I know in every community, not only Kamba, every community in Kenya, I'm sure there's a Mr. Kavaluku in your family. There is that one uncle that is very corny. He will do anything for money.
The best way for an artist to create something is to create for yourself. So who are we? We are Kambas, we are Kikuyus, we are Luos, we are Masais. So if we create for ourselves, then other people will want to see what we are doing because then they are curious about us. If we create in their own language, we cannot outdo them because it's their own language. They already know these things, so there's nothing new we can show them. But if we create things that tap into our own culture and our own languages and our own traditions, then we have something that we can showcase throughout the world. If we stay original, then it's easier to sell ourselves because we're not selling something that is duplicated everywhere else. It's only us who have it.
Sasa ni mamoni vya kofia tofauti. Mimi ni Dr. Kabaluku, Dr. wa mifupa.
The industry is growing, There are many platforms that are coming up. The digital space is also changing. It was not like this 5-10 years ago. So right now, there are avenues where the filmmaker can earn money. There's also Kenya Film Commission, which is helping producers, which is helping filmmakers through empowerments, funds. Even the Real County Film Festival, I saw that the last one, they're offering 100K for, when you give them your content to showcase for a day or two, they give you 100K, which was not there a few years ago, which is something. We have to start from somewhere.
Our problem has been, I would say selfishness. I have an idea, I want to look for the money, I want to do it by myself so that I get all the recognition by myself. But if you look at Bollywood, if you look at Nollywood, you'll see 3 different production companies working on the same projects. So I think that co-production and collaboration across the industry will be very helpful.
Amidst the joyous confusion of Mama Patient's resurrection, a sinister subplot emerges masterfully crafted by the cunning Mr. Kavaluku, a treacherous uncle with avaricious appetite for personal gain.
Tutanunua kambure, kahawa, kila mtu chai, matanga, kila kitu mpaka tuzike hiyo kamburi. Sawa sawa? Ndio pesa kila mtu ambaki na kitu kwa mfuko.
His deceitful ploys threaten to tear their family apart as they grapple with the moral dilemma of honoring their benefactors or succumbing to the allure of ill-gotten gains. Will they fall prey to Mr. Kavaluku's deceitful ploys?
For those who would like to watch Pagu, Pagu is on YouTube. It's free. It is free. Go to YouTube, search for Pagu. You will see it. Go and watch it, comment, share with your friends. Let's support local content.
Mwanatenzi na mochare, marenjia ni hospitalini.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Nairobi, the land of cool waters, the capital city of Kenya, the hub of East Africa. Nairobi is truly a city of dynamism. The expressway has created convenience to our visitors right from the airport to whichever destinations. The favorite global capital for meetings, incentives, conferencing, and events. In Nairobi County, we are truly the hotbed of creative talent. Nairobi's hospitality industry is thriving. We have vibrant nightlife. Nairobi welcomes you.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi, dial *570#. Title deed ndio hii, vuka na shake.
It is a beautiful day, my people.
Does she look like? Is she hot and smart upstairs?
Let me tell you guys, some of you here will not see the gates of heaven. I'm telling you the truth.
When all of you are this is low.
Hey, umeanza kuvuka mipaka sasa?
The guy of the day is a Vepe. Is Mbaya. Is not poor, Kinash. It's not poor. It's not poor, Adi, yet this is your big day. Where is the backup plan? Where is my backup plan?
All the plan that I need is right here. This beautiful, soft face.
Good evening and thank you for staying with us. We take a look at the business news of the day. My name is Weri Mujenga. The government should fast-track implementation of the national automotive policy to fuel growth in the local assembly. This is according to Isuzu East Africa Managing Director Rita Kavashe, who made the remarks during the launch of the Cooperative Bank Asset Financing Scheme for schools and businesses.
The national automotive policy, which had been pending since 2018, was approved by the then Ministry of Industrialization in 2022, opening business opportunities for the local automotive industry by gradually reducing and eventually eliminating the importation of used vehicles. However, the implementation of the policy has faced delays, with Isuzu East Africa Managing Director Rita Kavashe, who chairs the Kenya Motor Industry Association, calling for implementation of the policy.
But just the fact that there is an auto policy, already new investors who are waiting for stability in the auto sectors have begun to show up themselves. So yes, we have to stay on course if we are truly going to grow this important enabler of our economy, that is the auto industry.
Kavashe was speaking during the launch of an asset financing scheme for schools and businesses by Isuzu East Africa, Cooperative Bank and CIC Insurance.
Our value proposition through this partnership, we will offer financing tenor extension to 6 years, that is 72 months, to give them much needed relief as a result of the recently escalated prices due to increased cost of importation.
The tough economic times have resulted in schools and businesses facing challenges in raising capital to fund capital projects.
Tumesema tusaidie mwananchi wakati hii kuna hukumu kubwa ya kifedha, na kwa hivyo tunaona ni vizuri tuendelee namna hiyo. Asante.
Frederick Moki for Prime Edition.
Now, Kenyans have been urged to utilize online financial literacy tools to assess their financial health and evaluate their debt-to-income ratio in order to be responsible borrowers. Financial services provider Mogo says during tough economic times, it is important to ensure you do not fall into a vicious debt cycle. Mogo has reduced monthly payments for both its car financing and logbook loans aimed at assisting Kenyans in navigating difficult economic times.
Financial services provider Mogo has eliminated application and processing fees for car financing loans and abolished application fees for logbook loans. This has led to the reduction of car financing monthly payments by 30%, while logbook loans payments will see a reduction of 5%.
We have removed our processing fees and application fees for car financing and logbook loans, and as a result, we have made our car financing loans 30% cheaper, and our logbook loans are now 5% cheaper. So our customers will be able to pay less and be able to access the finances they need.
The reductions aim to alleviate financial burdens for Kenyans by enabling them to comfortably address various goals and needs, such as injecting more capital into their businesses, paying school fees, covering medical bills, renovating houses, or undertaking construction projects, among others.
We address concerns of customers who might experience difficulties during their loan term, especially due to the economic times or unforeseen circumstances. By doing our case-by-case analysis, we reach out to them to discuss their financial situation and also talk to them about the available options that they can use to be able to continue paying for their loan and ease whatever financial pressure that they are experiencing at that point in time.
The firm says it leverages artificial intelligence technology to swiftly assess customers' creditworthiness to ensure favorable loan terms and amounts.
Now, more than half of mobile data users used devices that are 4G enabled. This is according to the latest Communication Authority of Kenya data that indicates that 51.5% of the total mobile data subscriptions used 4G devices.
Internet service providers have been racing to increase their network of 4G infrastructure. Data from the Communications Authority of Kenya indicates that 4G mobile network coverage in Kenya currently stands at 97%, compared to 98% for 2G and 3G mobile network coverage. The increased 4G infrastructure has also been embraced, with the majority of Kenyans now using the network. Communications Authority indicates that 4G technology accounted for up to 51.5% of total mobile data subscriptions. In addition, mobile data volumes consumed within the 4G network accounted for 82.7% of total data volumes. The CA report further indicates that the number of mobile SIM subscriptions dipped 60 basis points during the month of October, November and December, attributed to high churn vis-a-vis acquisitions, especially of Telkom Kenya Limited. According to the quarterly sector statistics CA report, Safaricom leads with 44 million mobile subscriptions, followed by Airtel at 19.38 million subscriptions, Telkom Kenya with 1.3 million subscriptions, Equitel at 1.5 million subscriptions, and JTL 498,068 subscriptions. The report further says Kenya transacted 38 million on their mobile phones within the period, which is a drop of 0.2 percentage points.
Hawezi kutanguliza suna kabla ya farad. Faradi inakuja number 1. Faradi inakuja number 1, baada yake ndio unafuata sunna. Na lazima hayo mambo tuyajue.
Ningependa pale nyumbani na hata nami pia tusisahau kutekeleza swala hasa katika mwezi huu wa Ramadhan ili tunufaike kwa kupata kukubaliwa ibada zetu.
Jour après jour mon d'amour t'essocélia bienvenue.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one? and the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. The government will unveil the Kenya Rally School that was founded to train youngsters to join the elite during the shakedown of this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya. This was revealed today during a sponsorship boost by CFAO Motors towards the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, which will be held between the 28th and the 31st of this month and will be the third leg of the season. This is after the Monte Carlo and Sweden legs.
The Kenyan government, through the Ministry of Sport, is working towards training young rally drivers to become elite drivers who will be competing at the highest level internationally. And on the 27th of this month, during the WRC Safari Rally Kenya Shakedown, the rally school will be officially unveiled.
We are engaged in very robust conversation around our new legacy project, the Talanta Rallying School, which really is our way of consolidating the rallying space by providing an opportunity to young Kenyans to become elite rally drivers through a very deliberate, intentional and structured program to train rally drivers here in a formal school.
The Rally School is one of the Kenyan government projects that aims at making sports a mega industry of employment.
It was a great thing, seeing different sports just getting together and, bringing the fans of motorsport to athletics and athletics to motorsport. For me, that's a huge thing, and I'm hoping that we can continue doing that even in different sports. For me, it's all about brand building, and you can always build brands in different things.
With his full focus on making these projects a success, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba has guaranteed that under his watch, the growth of all sporting disciplines will not be hampered.
One of the reasons why sport has not enjoyed sufficient corporate partnership in this country has been questions around transparency, around accountability, around good governance, and just making sure that we run our sports well. We are determined to clear any doubts about the questions of accountability, transparency, and good governance.
CFAO Motors has boosted the 2024 Safari Rally Kenya with 30 million shillings ahead of the third leg of the season that gets underway on the 28th of this month, while handing over a Toyota double cabin to African record holder Ferdinand Manyara, who will be CFAO's Moto Kenya brand ambassador. The 2024 WRC season began in Monte Carlo from the 24th to 28th of January before heading to Sweden for the second leg that was held from the 15th to 18th of February. After WRC Safari Rally Kenya, drivers will head to Croatia for the fourth leg to be held from the 18th to 21st of April, while the season ends in November with Rally Japan.
Thank you, Buckley, for that story. Now, the national men's volleyball team, Wafalme, started their campaign at the ongoing African Games in Accra, Ghana, on a winning note as their compatriots in beach volleyball bowed out of the games after quarterfinal defeats. Wafalme dominated Chad in straight sets of 25-16, 25-22 and 25-16 in the opening match. It was a double victory for Kenya following the Malkia Strikers' victory over the Seychelles in straight sets in the women's preliminaries, which kept them on track for the title defense. The national beach volleyball men's and women's teams were, however, eliminated from the African Games after losing their quarterfinal matches to South Africa and Egypt, respectively. The Kenyan duo of Yvonne Wavinya and Gordon Shemakwa lost to Idim's Marwa and Dua by 2 straight sets of 21-18 and 21-12, while the men's duo of Alphas Makuto and Jeras Kosgei lost to the same margin to South Africa. Now, Murang'a still will be represented by Vice Chairman Hussein Mohammed at the forthcoming FKF annual general meeting slated for Saturday in Nairobi. Murang'a still maintained their stand despite communication from FKF claiming the ineligibility of Hussein attending the AGM.
Following a letter to Murang'a Seal from FKF CEO Barry Otieno 2 days ago that Hussein Mohammed should not attend the FKF AGM this Saturday, the club has indeed confirmed that their Vice Chair Hussein Mohammed will be their representative at the AGM. The club says that the representative of clubs at FKF AGMs are sole decisions of club quoting Article 18, which grants club the powers to manage their affairs independently and with no influence from third parties.
That my appointment, or Murang'a Seal's appointment of Hussein Mohammed, still stands, and Hussein Mohammed will turn up on Saturday for the AGM, unless he declines to attend. But as far as I am concerned, he is our delegate for the meeting, and no one is going to change that.
The FKF Annual General Assembly will bring together members of the National Executive Council and delegates from counties and clubs. Joy Nabwile for Prime Edition.
And that's the sport for tonight. More coming your way tomorrow. Have a good evening. My name is Daniel Wahome.
Haya, hisi ya kungoja kwenye *570 hash kuna ploti na ni up to 1.1 million Kenyan shillings with a genuine title deed na inakungoja *570 hash ukana shake.
This is a very exciting moment, not just for Naivasha, not just for the county of Nakuru, but also for Kenya.
Okay, ready? Ready.
This thing is crazy. I mean, the sheer speed, you can hardly see the road. These guys are really professional. It's really something out of this world. Ask me whether I want to do this again? I'm not sure.
As we keep tabs on the clock ticking ahead of that deadline issued by medics and doctors across the country to down their tools as of midnight tonight, I want to remind you that we are having a candid conversation right after this. The IALA is having its meetings in Nairobi. Has that transformed, or rather what's the way for the East African community? Somalia is the latest entrance to the regional bloc. What does it mean? Tonight, on our candid conversation with none other than PS East Africa Community Affairs, Abdi Duat, with none other than Jacob Curia, culminates Prime Edition midweek. I'm Regina Manyara. My colleague on sign language was none other than Lensa Odingo. Have yourself a pleasant evening as you find out exactly where we are as the East African community.
Good evening. Tonight we are hosting the Principal Secretary, State Department for East African Community, that is PS Abdi Duat, who joins us on set. Let's talk about the East African community and how the region is faring so far. Thank you very much. PS, karibu sana.
Asante sana, John.
Probably begin with telling us the state of affairs of the East African community as is.
All right. Yes. Thank you, John. The East African Community is a regional intergovernmental organization that comprises 8 partner states. The Republic of Kenya, the Republic of Uganda, the United Republic of Tanzania, the Republic of South Sudan, the Republic of Burundi, the Republic of Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Federal Republic of Somalia. It came into being in 2000 after the ratification of the treaty by the founding partner states, which is Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and subsequently expanded until we admitted Somalia last year. It has a population of around 320 million people, and it has a GDP of around $320 billion. So it's a huge market, and that is the space that EAC is. We have 4 pillars of integration that we aspire to achieve. That is the customs union, the common market, the monetary union, and ultimately the political federation. And the community, of course, has an institutional structure. It has its governance structure, and the treaty for the establishment of the EAC becomes the ultimate governing instrument of the community. We've set for ourselves different institutions of the community to help us achieve these pillars of integration. So we've done well in the customs union. We are doing very well. There has been challenges in moving a bit faster in the space of the common market and the space of the monetary union and ultimately the political federation. But we are making progress. I think currently we are happy with the progress. It's been 24 years, and despite the challenges, I think we can all say that the community is strong, it is headed well, and it just requires a bit of a push, and we'll get there. The East African Community is the fastest integrated regional economic community in Africa, so that speaks volumes.
What is the community doing to enhance the trade opportunities and the big economic opportunities that exist within the region, probably to even go beyond the 320 billion that you're mentioning?
The economic integration is such a way that we are trying to lay foundations so that we can move systematically in our economic integration process. We've started with the customs union. That's why I said that we're very happy on the space of the customs union. We are a single customs territory, meaning that we are actually managed by a single East African Customs Management Act. Clearance of goods and the movement of goods within the transit corridors is very fast. We've put in place mechanisms and measures to ensure that trade within the EAC moves fast. However, we are not going as well as we would have liked to. We are operating at around 25% intra-EAC trade. Our plan and our ambition is to move that to 50% in a few years. So there is a lot of potential in that space.
The low-hanging fruits, PS, for a regional bloc like this that has existed for some years, of course, is trade. But you're saying intra-EAC trade is at 25%. Do you think that's a slow pace? What is the problem?
Well, there are a lot of things that hinder the intra-EAC trade, and the biggest is non-tariff barriers. Despite the fact that we have envisioned a space where there's free movement of people, goods, and services, we have had situations where non-tariff barriers have come to play to hinder that trade. And as a region, we have identified non-tariff barriers as one of an impediment and a challenge that is hindering intra-EAC trade. We have come up with regional mechanisms for monitoring and elimination of these non-tariff barriers. We have a non-tariff barrier elimination act currently, so we actually have a law and a mechanism for monitoring these non-tariff barriers. It's very robust. We are making progress, and we have institutional mechanisms for doing that under a sectoral council that make sure that we always discuss the issues of non-tariff barriers. We have conversations about what is causing these non-tariff barriers and ensuring that partner states are made to eliminate those barriers. But the nature of non-tariff barriers is that you remove and eliminate this one, another one pops up tomorrow. So that is one of the reasons that is hindering our trade.
Hold that thought on peace and security, because I want us to speak about it. But still coming back to the issue of trade, other than what member countries are doing to address the issue of non-tariff barriers, and you mentioned about bilateral engagements with friendly nations, obviously, to deal with some of these things. How is your department, how is the East African community addressing simmering tensions within the ranks of its members because of, trade thieves or stuff like that?
Well, when it comes to issues of trade, as I said, we have mechanisms. We have regional mechanisms of ensuring that we monitor and we eliminate, especially non-tariff barriers. When it comes to other trade matters, we also have mechanisms within the region that we constantly discuss these issues and we eliminate them. As I said, we are a single customs territory. We have a common external tariff, which is a 4-band tariff. It gives us rules with respect to what goods and commodities can enjoy preferential tariffs within the EAC, and how do we impose tariffs on the goods, whether they're finished or the raw materials that are coming into the EAC. We have rules of origin that also tell us, even when you manufacture goods here, for them to have preferential treatment within the EAC, they must be originating from the country, and there are mechanisms, of course, that we want to ensure. So, of course, sometimes the issues that arise as to this product is being banned, for instance, manufactured in Kenya, that is originating, and all the components are originating from Kenya, but you find that we can't cross over and sell them in another country because they're saying that they're disputing whether these goods are originating. We have regional mechanisms to ensure that this is sorted out. Sometimes we have we form a regional team to come and do a verification. Are these materials being used to assemble or to produce this product originating from the country? And on many occasions, we have resolved those issues and we have allowed trade to flow. So we have mechanisms within the region. But again, bilaterally, because we are friends, we are neighbors, we also engage each other on small items. The other day, the United Republic of Tanzania had an issue with our tea, and they had stopped trading of our tea. Myself, together with my counterpart, the PS for Trade, traveled to Tanzania and had a conversation with our partners and our colleagues in the United Republic of Tanzania, and we resolved that issue. So this is the nature of business. Something arises, and ours is to make sure that we monitor the flow of business, and we ensure that it's not hampered. Yeah, Kenya is the largest beneficiary of the intra-EAC trade. 35%. Yes, so we are the largest businessman in the region, and therefore we have to ensure that we have our eyes open all the time. We monitor the situation. We are constantly engaging other stakeholders. The private sector is always open to have conversations with us, and we make sure that when it comes to matters trade, our interest is protected.
One of the pillars of the East African community, just like you mentioned, is the political pillar, the political confederation. How are you dealing with the issues of peace and stability that you had reference to? That is internally for some of the member states, and sometimes it rolls over to neighbors. For example, we are dealing with a situation with Rwanda, Burundi, Rwanda, DRC, and how you are addressing it within the larger context.
Peace and security basically is anchored in the treaty for the establishment of EAC. The treaty itself anticipates that issues of peace and security and stability within the region, under Article 124, partner states must be able to have these conversations. And to actualize this, we have protocols on peace and security that we've set up for ourselves, and it gives us a framework within which we operate. Under this peace and security protocols, we have many mechanisms that we've put in place. For instance, conflict management, prevention and resolution mechanisms that gives us how we are able to look at issues of conflict. The idea is that we identify, we detect, we manage, and we resolve these conflicts amongst and within ourselves. And I think we've done very well. In the area of peace and security, we also have very many other instruments that we use. We have, when it comes to small arms and light weapons, we have a policy on that. We have measures to detect, to prevent and to combat cybercrime. We have measures to detect and combat illegal movements and illegal immigration and human trafficking. We have protocols on defense, where we have our defense and armed forces collaborating, and they have joint exercises amongst and joint trainings within the communities. If you go to our National Defense University here, where you will think that we are only training our Kenya Defense Forces, you'll be shocked that you find brothers and sisters from all the partners in EAC are actually training together with our colleagues here. And we have joint exercises that we call Ushirikiano Imara. If it comes to the areas of the police itself, we have a lot of cooperation at that level as well. We have a lot of cross-border operations, cross-border patrols, exchange of criminal information, and intelligence. And as a result, we have been able to combat a lot of security issues. In the issues of peace, we say that as a community, we have to look at peace and we have to maintain peace. And peace is a prerequisite for socio-economic development. And the treaty itself basically recognizes that.
You've referenced, cross-border issues that probably need the attention of the East African community. But very quickly, what are you doing to address some of these things? For example, we have a new nightmare called climate change affecting the entire world. Being probably one of the biggest cross-border issues that is confronting the modern world, what are you doing to deal with it?
Issues of cross-border, let me look at them from a point of migration, from a point of environment and climate change, and transboundary resources. If you look at, for instance, I was in Turkana 2 weeks ago, and we were inspecting development projects there, and the border that we have with South Sudan, Nadapal, Nakadok. You'll find that the county of Turkana borders 3 countries. It borders Uganda, it borders South Sudan, and it borders Ethiopia. And the challenges in that region, in that county, are basically because of the nomadic nature of the people who live the Turkana. And these people are out looking for pasture and resources. And climate change plays a significant role in the movement of these people, because a pastoralist moves to look for pasture and water for the animals. And to the extent that where they're staying is dry, they'll have to move. So we have to put in place mechanisms to ensure that these people are protected and that they're able to access these resources, because they are also regional resources. And to that end, we have bilateral arrangements with the Republic of Uganda. And I think in a month or even less than a month time, His Excellency the President himself will be visiting the Republic of Uganda, and we are going to have a joint head of states meeting to discuss these issues of resource sharing and movement of people. We've had challenges. Some of our Turkana herders crossed over to Uganda, and they were arrested and court-martialed and are serving jail sentences. And we are pursuing the release of these prisoners as a country. And they are victims, again, of this climate change. Of course, the allegations are that they were armed in the territory of the Republic of Uganda. And these are issues that we are discussing with Uganda. When it comes to borders, again, we have a process that is ongoing. That is, it's an EU border program within the EU border program, but we are doing it, at the level of EAC. We are doing demarcation, delimitation, and the verification of our borders, where we are doing it together with South Sudan, we are doing it together with Uganda. And this demarcation and delimitation of these borders helps us because it brings peace within the communities. Because you'll find that the communities that are living in that tri-junction, for instance, are the same people, the Ateker community. They speak the same language. You have the Turkanas on this side, you have the Karamajong on this side, and then you have the Toposas in South Sudan. They are the same people. It's just the border that has divided them. They speak the same language, they have the same culture, and they have the same nomadic lifestyle.
What is the EAC doing to strengthen its pillars of governance and democracy within member states?
First, we have constant dialogue amongst ourselves and at a regional level. And we involve, the issues of good governance, issues that cannot be done only by the partner states themselves. and the community. We have to expand and involve everybody. There are players in that space. We have the civil society. We have other actors, and in fact, everybody, including the normal citizenry, have to be involved in these conversations. And we have dialogues, we have seminars, we have conversations generally about the issues of good governance. We have a good governance policy. And that is, again, being validated, and we should be able to complete it soon. We want to have protocol on good governance, again, that is a draft, and we're having, we are moving that, we are fast-tracking, the amendments to that draft, so that we can take into consideration what the feelings are for each of the partner states, and we have that framework that will guide us on good governance.
You were in the chambers last week when His Excellency the President was addressing the members of Yala. And there's that one thing about strengthening governance within the EAC Secretariat. I don't know what member states are doing, and particularly Kenya, now that they have the tenure of 5 years for the Secretary General EAC, strengthening governance within that institution. As you strengthen governance within member states, what is being done to the institution to strengthen governance?
Well, the East African Secretariat is an organ and the executive of the EAC, and it is oversighted by the Council, which is the policy organ. And the Council of Ministers are basically the ministers for EAC, for the partner states, and they give policy direction on the EAC. So everything to do with whether it is, in terms of employment and staff rules, whether it is the financial rules, whether it is audit, employment and creation of institutions, all that is covered by the Council. And the Council has a mechanism for monitoring, for evaluation, and for correcting. And because the Council does meet regularly. And the Council also has, created an institution. Like, for instance, under the Council, we have the PSS, a coordination committee of the principal secretaries, which is a technical arm that basically advises the Council and also implements the directives and the directives given by the summit. And then we also have, other sectoral committees and technical people that we work with to ensure that we monitor. So I'm not worried in whether it comes to issues of governance of the community, because the community is a rules-based community. Everything is governed by some framework. So there's nothing that is left to chance. There is the right way of doing everything, and we are always discussing, all of us. And we have to be in agreement, all of us. So where the problems, of course, challenges will always be there. Where there are challenges, we also have mechanisms of discussing to ensure that we correct them.
Lastly, PS, so that we ensure that you carry everybody along in the agenda of the East African community and integration, for that matter. The youth are a critical cog in issues of integration. And there's also the marginalized community. Some of them you mentioned are within the borders. What are you doing to bring these groups on board to carry along the agenda of the East African community?
We have what we call simplified trade regime. In this simplified trade regime, the EAC has identified, again, these cross-border traders, micro and small size, small enterprises, which are, again, majorly these marginalized youth and women. And what they do is that they have very small items that they sell and small value. But because they do not understand the framework of trade, especially regional and international trade, you will find that they will be going to avoid the official borders, into Panya routes, to go cross over into Uganda so they can sell these small items. And they don't understand. To them, they will probably be subjected to some sort of duties and taxes and levies and all sorts of harassments and, barriers at these borders. And the whole the ecosystem is a bit, very confusing for them. So we are trying to sensitize them and teach them that they are able to do formal trade, even with those small goods that they're doing, pass through these borders, and they will be facilitated to pass through the borders at no cost. So the simplified trade regime basically allows some listed products and goods and services that and when you go to the borders, you'll find actually they're displayed, and you're able to know what products can you sell under the simplified trade regime. And most of the items, the agricultural produce and small things that our women and youth sell in the cross-border are actually included there.
Absolutely. That camera, 1 minute to do your last word. Yes.
The East African community is a market that is available to us. It's a big market. It has, as I had said earlier, 320 million people. The potential in this community is huge. I would like to urge Kenyans to take advantage of the opportunities available in the EAC so that we are able to expand trade, we are able to expand our exports, and as a result grow our GDP and improve the lives and livelihoods of our people. We have priorities as EAC. We want to increase intra-EAC trade. We want to ensure that we eliminate non-tariff barriers. We want to make sure that we work on frameworks and harmonizing our policies. As countries, we want to grow the diplomatic relations with our partner states so that we find peaceful ways of resolving any of the conflicts or any disputes, whether they're trade or otherwise, so that we remove all barriers for our people. They are able to move freely within the EAC, and they're able to live within the EAC, to work within the EAC, and be able to benefit from this integration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS Abdi Duat, the PS State Department for EAC, and thank you for your time.
Asante sana, John. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
Asante.
And we wish you a wonderful Ramadan.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
That's how we put a cap on Prime Edition tonight. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. Good night.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw, ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi. Dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii. Vuka na shake.